Good morning YouTubians, it's Kermit's Ghost, and today I am reviewing number 15 on the cult movie poster. It's a film from 1996 directed by Danny Boyle, and it is Trainspotting. Going to put this on, put the kettle on, have a cup of tea and see what this film is all about. So the cast of this film are as follows. You have Ewan McGregor as Renton. You have Ewan Bremner as Spud. Johnny Lee Miller as Sick Boy. Kevin McKidd as Tommy. Robert Carlyle as Begbie. And Kelly MacDonald as Diane. So the story follows a few characters, all friends, and we'll concentrate on the main one, Renton, played by Ewan McGregor, and the film is narrated by him. So the film starts with Renton trying to kick his heroin addiction. He has a kit, he has like boards that he's going to nail his door shut with, he's got pornography to see him through, and he has 3 buckets, one for piss, one for shit, one for vomit. This is not a film for kids. Anyway, he decides before he goes into full withdrawal, he's going to have one last hit. So he sees his dealer, and his dealer gives him 2 suppositories, and he's like, what's this? And they said, well, they're opium suppositories. Stick them up your ass. It's a slow release thing. So he plays along, sticks up his ass, and off he goes. Unfortunately, this has a dire consequence. It gives him explosive diarrhea. So he's walking along, and it starts working. So he pops in this pub, and it is the grimmest, in fact I think it says it's the grimmest toilet in the whole of Scotland. This thing is disgusting. He goes in there, but obviously he's got a ghost, and the toilet's blocked. His arse explodes almost, and he loses his 2 suppositories. So he goes in and fishes them out. There's shit everywhere. It is not the scene you want to watch when you're eating anything, let me tell you that. So a bit further in, he's off the drugs, and him and his friends all go to a nightclub, and he notices his friends are all in relationships. And the moral of the story is choose life or choose drugs. Well, he's off the drugs, so he wants some of the normal life for himself, so he wants to get himself a girlfriend. When he meets a girl in the nightclub, goes back to hers, has sex, and the next morning, because the girl says, you know, you've got to sleep in the hallway, you can't sleep in my room. He's fine with this, but next morning he goes down for breakfast. The girl pops in, and she's in a school uniform, and he's just realised he's had underage sex with something like a 14-year-old girl, and that's not good. But she bribes him, saying, if you don't sleep with me more, then I'm going to tell the police. The same night at the nightclub, his friend Spud, played by Ewan Bremner, he goes back to his girlfriend's and passes out from the drink, but when he wakes up in the morning, he has shat the bed, and he takes the sheets down to be washed, but the mother downstairs says that she'll wash them, and he's like, no, they're in a bit of a tug of war. The sheet goes up in the air, and the shit goes over the entire family that are sat down for breakfast. So then Renton resumes his heroin addiction and starts up again. Meanwhile, he's got this character called Tommy who has never touched drugs. Even though he's friends with the gang, because you've got Renton, you've got Tommy, you've got Spud, and you've got Sick Boy. Sick Boy, by the way, is obsessed with Sean Connery, and he knows his career inside out. Anyway, Tommy doesn't take drugs at all, but he breaks up with his girlfriend because Renton stole one of his sex tapes, and his girlfriend went mad because she thinks that he handed it back to the rental shop. So, Tommy, who doesn't take drugs, he decides he's going to dabble, and before you know it, he's hooked as well. Meanwhile, as they're all back on the drugs, they're at their drug den, and there's a baby wandering around, and we don't know who the father is, but we know who the mother is. But the baby is neglected over and over again, and the baby dies, but we find out that Sick Boy is the father. So to fuel their heroin addiction, as they have no money and no possessions, they start shoplifting and stealing off people. Spud and Renton get caught by security after shoplifting. Spud gets sent down for 6 months, and Renton gets a suspended sentence because he books himself into a rehabilitation thing. But later that night, Renton overdoses, and he is sent to the A&E, where his mother and father pick him up. They take him home, lock him in a room, and make him go cold turkey until he's off the drugs. So it's a few weeks later now, and Renton is off the drugs again. Now his friend Tommy, who never used to take drugs but dabbled recently, He is now a full-blown addict, and Renton goes to see him. And Tommy used to have a lovely flat, used to have furniture, girlfriend, job, prospects, and now he's on the drugs. He has nothing. I think he's even sold the carpet, and he's living in squalor, and he's a complete and total addict. This is when Renton decides he's going to move away from the area because it's not good for him, and he moves down to London. So now he's settled in London, he's cleaned his act up, he's got himself a job. He receives a letter from his old girlfriend Diane, the schoolgirl, and in the letter she tells him about all his friends and what they're doing. She tells him that Sick Boy has approached her to try and be a drugs mule, and a character called Big B, who's an absolute nutter, played brilliantly by Robert Carlyle, he's wanted for armed robbery. And with that, there's a knock on his door, and he's like, oh shit, it's none other than Big B. He's just invited himself in, and he makes himself at home. So Big B is quite the character. He's a very aggressive person, and he just moves in with Renton, and he kind of takes over. He's sleeping in the same bed as well. He's like, I'm sleeping here. Go and get me cigarettes. Go and put bets on for me. He's drinking his booze, smoking his cigarettes. He's kind of just taking over the flat for himself. And Sick Boy does exactly the same thing. He comes down, moves in with Renton, and he goes out a little bit further. He actually starts selling Renton's furniture, his TV and stuff, to pay for his addiction. Well, they all get word now that Tommy has passed away, and it's a cross between the drugs and toxoplasmia, I think that's what it's called. It's a disease in cat shit. So they all move back to Scotland, and that is where I'm going to stop the story. So did I enjoy Trainspotting? Well, this is the second time I've seen this film. First time I didn't really enjoy it that much. Second time, I think because I knew what I was going to get into, I loved it. I thought this was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The performances in this were spot on. This is such a gritty film, complete anti-drugs. If you think drugs are glamorous, you see these rappers bloody sniffing cocaine off some model's ass, watch this film, because this is the grim reality of it. I would give this film 9 out of 10. So do you agree with my score on Trainspotting? Leave a comment down below. I will get back to you. I promise. Give it a thumbs up. That helps the channel. And subscribe if you haven't. Why wouldn't you? It's all free. And on that note, thank you so much for choosing my channel today and watching my video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.